Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, aka Man of the People, back in the Queen City. Got back earlier today from Tampa. Had to sit there an extra moment just to make sure I absorbed the full moment of like what it was like to be in Tampa when they lost. It was kind of quiet, cool, but nevertheless, we are here today to talk about the Carolina Panthers as they are getting ready to take on the LA Rams in the first round of the playoffs. First time they've had a playoff game in a long time. So the schedule for the week kind of shifts a little bit because the game is on a Saturday. So we actually going to have availability. We had it yesterday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then we will not have anything on Friday. Game is on Saturday. Also, that means the injury report still does not officially have to come out until Wednesday, right? So though the team gathered today and players were around today, nothing will be official until later in the week. But nevertheless, media was not allowed in the locker room today. There was no media availability in that regard, but we did get a chance to talk to head coach Dave Canales as they begin these preparations a little bit deeper into the week preparing for the LA Rams. So I'm going to share some clips with you guys from that interview today with Coach Dave Canales, and then we'll continue to do what we do all week. Got a lot of things that we're working on. It's really hectic right now trying to get things organized with such a short turnaround and et cetera. But we're going to do what we do and get you guys as much coverage as we can. By the way, let me give you guys a big round of applause. Got back to doing my one-on-one interviews last week. Did Jimmy Horn Jr. And that interview has blown up tremendously. So I'm glad that you guys like that. I will continue to push for those. I'm going to try to get another one this week. I don't know if it's going to happen or not because it's just, again, it's a lot of moving parts, especially when these games get into national games and requesting players, et cetera, et cetera. But we will do what we can to continue to do that since you guys like it. Man of the people, do what you want. All right, so let me go ahead and touch on let me get through this content first, and then I will get to some of the comments that are coming out there. So let's go ahead and talk about it. This Carolina Panthers team is a young team. Makes for some headaches for sure this season, right? Win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And I'm like, I'm sold. That's what we're going to do. Win one, lose one. We're going to beat Tampa. And then we go to Tampa and we lose. So that's still a young coach trying to get this culture built and embedded into these guys. And it's still a lot of young players. We got 31 players on this team with no playoff experience. So the good will be, again, we're stacking some bricks for a really good future with this team. But in the meanwhile, some things we got to go to. Dave Canales touched on the fact of having so many young guys on this team.
It's a fantastic opportunity. Again, as much as I try to preach, we try to preach to our group, every game is a championship moment. Every game is a championship opportunity. Here it is right in front of us now. We're in the playoffs, and to try to make sure that our focus doesn't waver or shift like you have to do anything that you haven't done before. It's about the basics. Football this time of year is about tackling, it's about blocking, and it's about being really efficient. And with each round, the pass rushers get better and better. Here come the Rams with a fantastic front five, the way they get after it, the way they play. These are the types of teams that are in the playoffs. And so matching that energy, making sure we're at our best has to be the focus.
All right, so, an ironic thing is his mentor, a guy that he talks about a lot, head coach Pete Carroll, who was currently the head coach out in Las Vegas, is no longer the head coach of Las Vegas. And Dave said he likes to give people, in his experience being in the NFL, when that happens, give the guy, whoever was fired, let go, opportunity to deal with it, talk to their family, et cetera. So he has not reached out to Pete Carroll yet, but I'm sure he will touch base with him when he can. And hey, could Pete Carroll be in support of Dave Canales here in Charlotte this weekend? I don't know. I just randomly thought about that while we were talking. But nevertheless, this is an opportunity because we're now in the playoffs for some help to be had on that offensive line. Now, it's kind of strange because we have had so many different offensive lineups this season. I don't know how many. I know it's 10, seems like weeks ago, so I'm sure it's even higher than that. But we were leading the league in combinations for starting offensive linemen. But Rico Dotto was still doing his thing. I asked coach about this yesterday, and he's like, "We got to get stronger. We got to run through arm tackles." Was asked about it again today. That being the run game, talked about, you know, being able to stop guys coming down from that safety spot, or linebackers coming down and filling those gaps. Guys at all layers have to do their job in order to get that run game back to working. And it's something that he does want to get back to. That's something that he wants to be a staple of this team, is being able to run the ball as part of their identity. So Rob Hunt could be coming back, and coach talked about the possibilities of Hunt coming back.
Yeah, it's a big week of evaluating Rob and seeing if he's physically ready to take on the game. Again, wanted to make sure, going into last week, I wanted to make sure that he'd be able to play an entire game, not something where he's going to pop out there for a couple series and, be moving around, just for the ebbs and flows of it, just getting your rhythm, getting your hands on people and getting back to football. And so this is a really big week. We have a couple of practices to be able to see what that looks like with Rob out there. And, these are guys that he's been around. He's been here the whole time, rehabbing here in-house, getting stronger here. And he's been in all the meetings. He's been in all the conversations. So, nothing has gone by him in terms of how we've evolved together as a group. So we'd be leaning on that part, that he's ready mentally to go. Physically, that's really the question we have to figure out this week.
So furthermore about that, in terms of Robert Hunt coming back, or even David Moore, right? If with these guys coming back, you have to make corresponding moves, right? Meaning, if both David Moore and Robert Hunt come back, well, there's two guys that you got to put on the street. Two guys that have to come off the roster in order to make room for them. So Dave Canales mentioned that's also a part of it, is figuring out what is going to be the corresponding move. You certainly hear him talk a lot of times about the guys that will be coming off that roster are going to be your bottom of the roster guys, and those bottom of the roster guys get on the roster because they can contribute to special teams. So I think that the Robert Hunt one is a little bit more difficult, because he's obviously not going to fill a special teams role. He is just for the line. So you're going to impact your special teams, and you need your existing guys there to be able to have the flexibility to fill in that hole, versus having to then take David Moore and still do the same thing. So they'll continue to work through it as that news continues to develop. Charlotte Vibe, Chris Jenkins, I'll continue to keep you guys in the loop on that one. So that was talking about the run game. Maybe Robert Hunt could help on that. There's already been a guy that has been stepping up and helping more on the wide receiver side, and that has been Jalen Coker. Didn't play the first, 6 games of the season or so like that, with an injury. He's been coming on better and better and better, obviously being a complimentary guy to Tedero McMillan. As a result, Jalen Coker had his highest percentage of snaps this past weekend. And then correspondingly, something has to give, right? Xavier Legette continued to have a dwindling amount of snaps for the offense as well. So David Canales talked about that change, Coker and Xavier Legette.
Yeah, it's a really big time for Jalen, as he's been stepping up and making plays for us. And so, we looked at last week as an opportunity to get him out there a little bit more in 12 personnel, 13 personnel, get him out there just because of the way he's been producing, and give him more opportunities. And, Xavier understands that part too. And he made his plays when they came to him in the game. So I was really proud of the way that he made an impact as well. But again, this is a celebration of Jalen just continuing to step up into a more starter role in 12 personnel and 11 personnel, and those things, just trying to find a way to get him more involved.
All right, so there's Coach Canales saying it's a celebration of Coker, doing what he needs to do, stepping up and being an impact player. By the way, when he mentions 11 personnel, 12 personnel, first number is always the running back. Second number is number of tight ends. So basically, he's saying when there's 1 or 2 tight ends. So far, Bryson Tremaine seems to be the leading guy that gets out there for 3 tight end sets. Or, Xavier Legette can be seen as a guy that could be doing some blocking. But, in his reduced role, Xavier did have some solid catches, right? I think he had maybe 2 or 3. Let me see if I can just double check that while we're talking right here. Yeah, I'm not gonna double check that, but I know Xavier did have some catches yesterday, which was cool. So let me go ahead and get through these questions. What's going on, Antonio McClanahan? Yes, NFC South, man. It's been a long time since that has happened for the Carolina Panthers. Rashak Shaq says, do they practice tomorrow? So yes, Carolina Panthers will practice every day except Thursday. So they practice today, and they'll continue to practice through Thursday, off on Friday. Well, I say off, there's no media availability, so they'll probably do like a walkthrough type of thing on Friday. What's going on, Charles Williams? Appreciate you tuning in. Nope, no NFC South gear. Glad you guys are ready for the playoffs. Is Hunt or Moore coming off injury reserve? So just talked about that, so hopefully you feel up to date with that part of it. We can make history if we win out. That would be an amazing story. That would be quite the amazing story if that were to happen. You know, everybody would have to get locked in on this team and be in an incredible zone. To be a team that's 8-9, make the playoffs, and then make it all the way to the Super Bowl, that would be phenomenal. So something to keep in perspective is, yeah, we beat a few good teams, right? We beat the Rams, we beat the Packers. Those two jump out at me. But outside of that, this team, for the most part, were winning the games they should, losing the games they should, right? You got a few anomalies for wins that we should not have had, and you got a few anomalies for losses that we should not have had. So that still says it's a tall order to then make it to the playoffs, and this team would absolutely be underdogs for every single team that they play, and for them to win every single time, a lot of things would have to get right. Hard to see, hard to imagine, but if it does happen, it will absolutely 100% be exciting. All right. What's going on, Panthers boy? We got one of our members. Appreciate the members. Appreciate the members. Hey, I tell you what, because you guys are talking about this play. If the Carolina Panthers win this weekend versus the LA Rams, independent media, you're gonna hear from me. I can promise you. Support, super chats, cash apps, GoFundMe. We will need it in order to make it out to Seattle. That's a big hump to get out there. It's not cheap at all to get out there. Certainly, if we can pull it together as far as fundraising, I'll be out there and do what I do best. But yeah, for the organization, it would be huge. What's going on, Tyrone? Appreciate you tuning in. Renfrow, I actually talked with Hunter Renfrow the other day in the locker room. I was kind of surprised to see him because I hadn't seen him in there much at all this season. And, good guy. I like to bring you guys perspective of guys outside of just their jersey number and who they are as a person. Just talk to him for a little bit. Really good dude. Yeah, I don't foresee him being active anymore this season. And not based on our locker room conversation at all, but just on a report from, I forget, he did an interview with somebody several weeks ago and said that he would think about retirement after this season. That's not surprising for guys that have gone through a lot, that they'll be forward about that. But I certainly wouldn't be surprised about that, because in that interview he talked about his family, how important that is and how fulfilling that is. And if you're not getting that big of a role with the team, and I even remember offense coordinator Brad Idzik talking about him loving his family. Like, I feel like Hunter would be retiring this season with things being as they have been. What's going on, Chance Hines? We got another member. I got to get some more sound effects for you guys. I always want to give some special love to our members out there. Miss Douglas, 22. Come on, man. What kind of question is that, Big Mo? Big Mo, did you not hear the intro? Let me get the intro real quick. Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, cover the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, a.k.a. Man of the People. Yes, I will be at the game. And we do a live show every pregame. May do some things special. Again, I don't want to say it, but I am excited about covering this team for this week. We do a pregame show, typically with Rashad of Panther Nation Podcast. It's an hour-long show, getting you ready for the game. Major. So set your alerts if you have not done so. Subscribe so you can make sure and see that. But yes, every single home game. I am there without a doubt. Away games, sometimes I miss, but I've been able to only miss two road games this year. And with you guys' support, if needed, we're gonna make it to the playoff games as well. Appreciate you, Big Mo, for tuning in. This is gonna be good experience for this young team, and coach, the future is bright. I agree with you, man. I agree with you, Loud Pack. I agree with you. Some of you guys saying that Hunter Renfrow will be a wide receiver coach. Would love to meet you. I know you there. So yeah, it's been awesome this season meeting a lot of you guys. Honestly, at this point, I'm going to be disappointed if I get on a flight to a road game and I do not see somebody new to meet. I forget the gentleman's name, but yeah, every single week that I've flown to a game, it's meeting somebody. So there's a chance to meet you, Big Mo. Please say hello, say what's up. Typically, we are at the Honeywell building, which I don't know which gate that is. They only have 3 gates. So I'm going to guess the east gate. Don't quote me on that, and don't laugh at me. You guys got to remember, whenever I'm asked about other things outside the media, we had like, I've been doing this for like 15 years, and I'm just like on autopilot for so many. I don't know if it's north, south, east. I just know where to go. I just know where to be, know what to do. But I think it might be. I can tell you for sure it's the Honeywell building. So if you're able to catch us, that'd be great. We'd love to meet you. All right, so that is it for today. Again, just got back to Charlotte a few hours ago from being in Tampa. Great atmosphere, and I love Tampa. Not great atmosphere in the game. I don't know where I was going with that is I love Tampa going to the beach. So that excuse what I was saying, great atmosphere. No, I'm thinking about the moment I got a chance to go to the beach for a second, but and the good weather down there in Tampa. But great to be back in Charlotte. Going to be a crazy atmosphere here in Charlotte this weekend. Excited, man, excited. And we'll continue to report to you guys. So, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. Set your alerts, set your reminders, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. Let's interact. Let's have some fun. Chris Jenkins reporting for Charlotte. Oh, we got a super chat before we get out of here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Super. All right. Can you influence Cam on the drums? So obviously that has been a topic. Cam Newton being at the game. Will he be at the game? He should be at the game. How crazy it would be for Cam Newton to be at the game pounding the drum. I don't know who does that, and I can try to look into it, but I can tell you this: fans just, you know, at the Panthers and see if they can see if you can get their attention, and I'll see what I can do to get you guys some information on it. Appreciate you, Steve. Chris Jenkins reporting for Charlotte Vibe.